Hello again and a very warm welcome to you from the East of England Showground in Peterborough, and another dose of entertainment Speedway style. Last week, remember, we brought you action from the British League, the individual Barham Trophy meeting at Kings Lynn. Well, this week it's the turn of the National League and the final of the Heat Electric Advisory Team 4-Team Championship. Well, there are now just 8 teams left in the competition. They'll be split into 2 groups of 4 teams, with the top 2 in each semi-final qualifying for the big one, the grand final. Well, let's take a look at how they line up in the first of our 2 semi-finals. And to start with, it's the Ipswich Witchers. They're flying the Anglia flag for us today, going very well right now, top of the National League. John Louis is now running the side. His son Chris is tipped for a bright future, as is the Australian Shane Parker. The Witchers, in the red helmets, are expected to do very well. Stoke Potters, in the blue helmets, are some people's favourites to win here. They usually do very well, 3 times runners-up. Skipper Nigel Crabtree is one of the most consistent men in the National League. The Glasgow Tigers are on the up, much improved and very well supported here today. Indeed, several Scots have made the journey south to cheer them on. Young Australian Shane Bowes could be the one to watch. The Tigers are wearing white. And completing our first semi-final lineup in the yellow and black helmets, Wimbledon Dons. Not enjoying the best of seasons, but don't rule them out. They're captained now by Ray Morton, the former Kings Lynn junior. Well, in this form of Speedway, it's important to make a good start, and that's just what Chris Louis did for the Witchers in Heat 1. And there was more good news for Ipswich in Heat 2. Shane Parker this time gaining maximum points. Heat 3 saw Wimbledon's Nathan Simpson leading, only to suffer engine trouble, and that allowed Stoke's Louis Carr to snatch victory. But in Heat 4, Ray Morton made up for that disappointment by getting Wimbledon's first win. And now for the story of the rest of the first semi-final, over to commentator Dave Lanning.
Heat number 5, Ipswich hanging on in front there. They're on 9 points. Stoke now on 7, Wimbledon on 5, Glasgow on 3. But Glasgow have their number 1, Kenny McKenna, here. He's on the outside, and that outside grid really has been a killer diller, because of 24 points so far scored in this National League 4 semi-final, only 3 have come from the outside grid, and we must remember a couple of those have been when somebody's either packed up or hasn't completed the course. There is Kenny McKenna looking across the line. On the inside grid, it's Louis Carr for Stoke, and they need points. He's in blue. Next to him, we have Andy Graham from Wimbledon. Now, he's a former British champion, and perhaps the most accomplished of the whole field in terms of his former record. He's in yellow and black. This is his first outing, just back after a wrist injury. Grid 3 has Chris Louis for Ipswich. He won his first race by the proverbial mile, and he's in grid 3 here, and on the outside, Kenny McKenna. Ipswich on 9, Stoke on 7, Wimbledon on 5, Glasgow on 3, and everything to go for here in Heat 5. And up to that first corner, and it looked as though Graham got scared away there, and took the rider in blue, Louis Carr, right across the grass. Second place is Chris Louis, third place is Kenny McKenna. This is a good portent for Wimbledon now, with Andy Graham in front and Chris Louis really going after him, and Carr, who did seem to get the rough end of the deal up to the first corner, he's at the back, and here comes Chris Louis, and he's gone sailing around the outside of Andy Graham, and that really was a picture piece of speedway from Chris Louis. They say this young man can't pass anybody, but that really was a master stroke. Third place still is McKenna, and Stoke with Louis Carr at the back, and I think he might have something to say about that start, because we'll have a look at it again. It looks as though Graham came right across and gave him nowhere to go, and in which case the referee, Mr. Rick Harris, might still have something to say. A fine ride by Louis to anchor Ipswich. He wins it. Second place is Graham, third place is Kenny McKenna. Let's look at the start again. We're on the outside 2 here. As they go up, you can see, well, Graham does come right across there and takes Carr over the line, and one has to say it was hard. It gave the Stoke rider nowhere to go at all, and Stoke were in contention, and they will be disappointed with that, to say the least. Well, let's just watch this piece of overtaking again. Remember, it's Andy Graham in front in yellow and black, the helmet, and Chris Louis in the red helmet for Ipswich, and Louis just looks irresistible at the moment. You can see him, he comes sailing around the outside. Graham hasn't moved off his line, at all, and he can do nothing about this. That really is super speedway. Around the outside, overtaking at its very best, and Chris Louis goes on to take heat number 5.
Well, Chris, a great start for you and a great start for Ipswich.
That's right, yeah, we've picked up a few wins and picking up points in a race, which is what you've got to do in this type of event, you know, as long as you don't run a lot, all right.
Now, what about that bit of overtaking in your second race there?
Yeah, well, like a favourite round Peterborough is across the grass is what the Peterborough boys usually do. I tried that the first lap, and I think it made him aware that was what I was going to attempt to do, so the next lap we just done the opposite and it worked good.
And you're on your way straight through to the final by the looks of things?
Yeah, hopefully, you know, just keep picking up 1 or 2 points and we'll be there, so we'll just have to sit around for the rest of the day, watch the other boys and, you know, try and keep a concentration going. It's the hardest thing, I think, when you've got to sit around and watch the next semi-final.
Well done. Well, in Heat 6, Stoke's Eric Monaghan struck good form to further improve the Potters' chances of qualification.
Heat 7 coming your way, the penultimate race in this first semi, and the points run down. Ipswich on 13 points. Unless they do something really disastrous, they should be home and dry. The real battles for second place, with Stoke on 10 points, Wimbledon on 9, Glasgow, who really cannot qualify now, back on 4. They've been very unlucky with mechanical problems here. Heat number 7, inside then Tatum. Next to him in white, Kenny McKenna. Grid 3 has Dean Standing from Ipswich, and on the outside it is Mark Carlson. It's a format you daren't run last, and certainly neither Stoke nor Wimbledon will be looking to doing anything daft here. Standings in grid 3 and McKenna in grid 2. Here's heat 7. And again, it's a real tight line, and it's Tatum who gets away. McKenna swings under him here. Down the back straight, it's a very tight one. McKenna in front. Second place, it is Tatum who gets squeezed out very hard. Dean Standing's back in third place. And at the back, it is the rider in blue, and that's Markson from Stoke, and that's a disaster for the Potteries Club. And now here comes Standing hard under Neville Tatum. It's important for Wimbledon that Tatum stays there. In front, it is McKenna. Second place, it is Tatum. Third place, Dean Standing, and McKenna is in front, and Standing trying the inside run on the Neville Tatum. It will mean it's all on the last heat if Tatum can stay up here, and it's a real battle, and at this point the second place battle is all important here. Standing on the inside, Tatum holding off the challenge. Still in front, it is McKenna, and this is the last lap, and still the battle rages. Tatum has done well to withstand these challenges, and that second place as McKenna takes the flag. Those 2 points put Wimbledon back in front of Stoke, who were last, and it's all down to the last race. Well, let's look at the start again of Heat 7, and we'll see that it is Tatum who just gets the drop here on McKenna as they go into the corner, and Tatum just misses the corner completely there, and McKenna seizes off on the inside and gets his wheels in front. You can see that they're shoulder to shoulder here. And McKenna, well, did he leave him room? Not a lot, but that's Speedway. Coming into the final heat of this first semi-final of the HEAT National Fours, and it's an interesting battle because Ipswich are home and drawing a real mathematical impossibility, really. They have 14 points. It's possible for Wimbledon to get up and draw with them if they win here, but I'm sure that Ipswich would still go through on a comeback on race wins. So let's consider the real issue here. Discounting Ipswich is between Wimbledon and Stoke, and if Eric Monaghan, there's Eric, if he can finish ahead of Andy Graham, he's on the outside. There he is on grid 4, and he'll come sweeping across him if he can. Providing Monaghan can finish ahead of him, then by our reckoning, although they could end up level on points, it would be Stoke to go through on the greater race win. So everything to go here in heat number 8. Let's look at the lineup. Monaghan looked terrific in his first ride. He won it. In grid 2, it's Alan Moggeridge from Ipswich. Grid 3 has Shane Bowes, and he's a spoiler in there. And on the outside, it is Andy Graham, whose starting tactics caused a certain amount of wrath from the Stoke crowd earlier on. Be sure, from grade 4, if he gets half a wheel, he'll come right across the field. It's been a terrible gate. Only 5 points has come from at the outside. Heat number 8. And again, this time, it's a close call up to the corner. And in front, it is Bowes in second place. There it is. Round the outside, Andy Graham has done brilliantly well, and Monaghan gets squeezed out and going hard through the inside again. It is Moggeridge, and Monaghan, and Graham has gone from second to last there. One corner is Bowes in Now there's a surprise, although we said don't discount him, and Monaghan has just got a hold on here in third place ahead of Andy Graham, and it will be Stoke to go through. The third lap, and it really has been a surprise race here with young Shane Bowes at 19, one of the two youngest riders on parade, and one can only conjecture what might have been for Glasgow but for some ill fortune. And now as they go into the last lap, Monaghan is still having a blast, and one might have thought he'd have done the sensible thing and just sat back and made sure that he finished ahead of Graham here, but he's still having a dig. Bowes will winning, second place is Mogridge, Monaghan holds on, that should be enough, and Andy Graham, who got up in the second place, has squeezed out, and Wimbledon go out by a hair's breadth. Well, let's watch the start again and watch the elbows between Bowes and Graham. We said Graham would come across, he's done just that, and Bowes is having none of it, and that's brave Speedway. He gets into the lead, and that really was courageous stuff from the young Glasgow rider. Monaghan here is second, but you see Andy Graham keeps it all screwed on. Mogridge comes up the curb, clever inside riding. We'll keep with the action as Bowes hits the front. Now Andy Graham seemed to have done enough here to put Wimbledon through, but he completely missed that corner. It really wasn't the best corner of his life he's ever ridden. Mogridge goes through, so too does Monaghan, and that's the way it lasted, and that's the way it finished. Well, in the final analysis, it really was a close call in this first semi. Ipswich, no problem at all. They finished on 16 points, clear winners and favourites to go forward into the final. Now, then, look at this battle for the other qualification place. Stoke finish on 11 points. Wimbledon finish on 11 points also, but by virtue of having two race winners against Wimbledon's one, and Stoke it is who will go forward. And Glasgow, with those two late wins, got themselves right back into the picture on 10, and one can only wonder what would have happened had they not had that mechanical problem. A really close and interesting first semi.
So there we are, a tremendously close battle for that second place. It's Ipswich and Stoke in the final. We'll find out who they meet in a moment. League Peers champions Steve Schofield and Andy Galvin. Schofield, top point scorer in the National League so far this season. Galvin recently subject of a £20,000 bid from Bellevue. Poole Pirates are the reigning National League champions, missing their Danish international Tommy Knudsen this season. He's injured, but they're still pushing the Ipswich Witches for the National League title. Australian international Craig Boyce could well make things click for them today. They will be in the blue helmets. Now, Middlesbrough Bears are always a force to be reckoned with on this track here at Peterborough. Indeed, they are the only team to have won this event here. They won it in 1985 and 86. They'll be wearing the white helmets and in the yellow and black. This time it's Berwick Bandits, a good solid team. David Blackburn back at Peterborough for the first time since a very nasty accident here. He's hoping no doubt for better luck today.
Well, just coming into your picture, David Blackburn in the yellow and black helmet colour for Berwick, and what must be going through his mind, because just a matter of weeks ago here, he almost lost his life. He had a terrible accident, he was unconscious, he'd swallowed his tongue, and it was only the prompt action of the Peterborough ground staff that saved his life. He says it's not preying on his mind, he says he can remember nothing about the day, and he's coming here with an absolutely open mind, but it will be just interesting to see how he measures up. Heat number 2 with a Poole in front and Hackney in second place, so Dave Blackburn and Berwick with work to do. They scored from their opening race. Looking at the lineup on the inside for Middlesbrough, it's Daz Sumner White. Next to him in red is Gary Tagg from Hackney. Grid 3 has Blackburn from Berwick, and on the outside it is Tony Langdon from Poole. Heat 2. Oh, what is a flyer? It's a flyer there from Sumner from Middlesbrough, and the Middlesbrough crowd will love that. And Blackburn tried the outside run, and it's getting terribly tight, and down there has gone Tagg, who has a reputation of being a harum-scarum merchant. It was a real tight corner. He is still down, and the red light is on, and the referee, Vic Harris, has excluded the rider in red. That's Gary Tagg for being the cause of the stoppage. We'll have another look at it. It was a terribly tight one. Let's have a look at it again, and you'll see Sumner on the inside gets a terrific start there, and he's away. Now what happens at the back here? Blackburn is around the outside, Tagg is inside him. And Blackburn really should have kept it all screwed on. He sort of just knocked it off. The fence is getting a bit close. He's got unhappy memories. And Tagg there, well, through the inside went Langdon. Now, did he push? was he knocked off? The bike goes on riderless, but it looked as though he might just have some cause for complaint that Langdon gave him some rough treatment.
Well, Gary, were you pushed or did you fall?
Well, we all come into the corner together. I didn't make a very good start. As we got half around the corner, Dave Blackburn started to go around the outside, and all of a sudden he just lock up in front of me. I tried to turn back to avoid hitting him. As I turned back, I think it was Tony Langdon come tearing through the inside. There wasn't room for three of us, and that's why I come down.
Coming into the restart then of heat number 2 with Gary Tagg excluded. That's bad news for Hackney. You can't afford not to score in this format. It's only 8 heats, remember, in these semi-finals. And the last place really constitutes a disaster. So Hackney already will have some work to do without a starter in heat number 2. And they may well feel slightly aggrieved about that. So let's look at the revised lineup. Just 3 only on the inside. Daz Sumner, well, he made a flyer. He'll be annoyed if he misses the jump this time. Then Nody in grid 2. Grid 3 has David Blackburn, who just looked a bit edgy, it has to be said, on the outside. Tony Langdon, who really gets stuck in heat number 2. And again, it is Sumner who's away, although Blackburn has got a good run as well. Blackburn round the outside. Here comes Langdon, and Sumner's relegated to 3rd place with Blackburn in front. Langdon now going hard around the outside, but leaving a gap, and Sumner tries to move him over. It's terribly tight into lap number 2. It's good Speedway, but Blackburn not showing any kind of edginess now. He's in front and going away. Ding dong for 2nd place. You can see Tony Langdon, an Australian who's used to riding tracks very similar to this. Has got Daz Sumner in his sights, but Blackburn is right out there riding the correct line. He's out middling off, you can see, leaving a gap and riding a very smooth line. It's a brave boy this. He almost lost his life here. It's not showing any kind of effect at all as they come into the last lap, and Langdon moving up, and Sumner moves out to cover him. He left a hole down the inside. If Langdon can get back in line, he couldn't. Clever tactics, ruthless from Sumner, just moved across into the testimony. Blackburn wins it. What must be going through his mind? 2nd place is Sumner. 3rd there was Langdon, and of course Hackney with no starter, so we have a really open 2nd semi. Well, it really is a super afternoon here at the East of England Showground. It's just a few clouds about. You can see conditions are beautiful for a good, exciting speedway. And when you look at the score, who would have thought that after 2 heats that Hackney would be back in last place? They have 2 points, Poole lead on 4, then Middlesbrough and Berwick on 3, and Hackney with work to do back on 2 points. As we look across the line for heat number 3, while Paul Whitaker on the inside knows that Hackney need points. He's on a red helmet. Next to him, yellow and black, Mark Courtney hasn't scored, and that won't please him. He is in grid 2. Grid 3 has Boyson on the outside, another Australian from Western Australia, from Perth, Dave Cheshire from Middlesbrough. Heat 3. And up to that first corner, and Whitaker's got a flyer, but Boyce will sweep around him. Just picked him off. Boyce in front. 2nd place Whitaker. 3rd place Courtney. Cheshire tailed off at the back again from grid 4. Boyce is away. 2nd place Whitaker, but I fancy he may find some pressure from Mark Courtney here. He's looking around all over the place. He might be better advised just to get his head down and go. Certainly looking for the line around the outside. Why just have it? And the battle is raging for these odd points, and Dave Cheshire has ridden right out of his boots there. He's gone around the outside of Courtney. Now he's going hard after Paul Whitaker, and the Middlesbrough crowd are loving this because he's going to do it. Oh yes, now that is a surprise packet. Dave Cheshire has been missing from British Speedway for 3 or 4 seasons, formerly with Arena Essex, but he's produced a party piece here. Still Boyce a mile in front, but Cheshire has given Middlesbrough something to really raise the roof for. Coming into heat number 4 with Poole firmly in the lead, and this time they'll be looking at one of their own assets actually, who could be their biggest troublemaker, because Stevie Schofield in red, now on loan to Hackney, although he belongs to Poole. He was not a member of their championship winning side. One of the great mysteries in National League Speedway, and the Pirates could ill afford to release an asset of his talent. He's the #1 rider in the section, has been for 2 or 3 seasons now. And incredibly, he's only ridden in 1 National Fours final and didn't score a point. He had engine trouble, you'll remember, and didn't score a point. He's on the outside here, and that's a difficult starting position. Heat 4 on the inside, Hunter in white for Middlesbrough. Next to him, Tony Langdon. Poole, grid 3, Alan Rivet from Berwick on the outside. Steve Schofield and up to that corner. And once again, the outside grid, Schofield got a terrible knock. Leading it is Langdon. Second place is Hunter. Coming hard is Rivet. Rivet around the outside and Schofield at the back. A real battle between the two oldest contestants. That's Rivet in yellow and black, and Hunter. They're both 34 years old. They're the oldest two of those. Scovey is not that much younger, and he's at the back here. Just could not get off that outside grid, but Langdon is persevering from Poole. And now can Steve Schofield find anything from the back against these two veteran colonials? Second place is Rivet. He's a New Zealander actually, though he's done most of his racing in Australia. And Schofield really is busting a gut to get around the outside of Hunter, and he might just get around now. Hunter Wiley Painter is holding him out here. He's got inside Alan Rivet because Rivet's holding out, and it really is exciting stuff now for these odd points. A mile in front is Langdon. What's going to happen for the odd points with now Hunter going hard through, and Schofield might just get up on the line, and he has. Remarkable. While Hunter and Rivet were looking for each other and elbowing, Schofield around the inside line and picked up 2 points out of nothing. And that really was astonishing track work. Well, let's just have a look at that. It's a remarkable last lap again. You can see here's Rod Hunter, he's in white. Schofield is in red, the helmet, and Rivet is in yellow. You can see as they get around into the last lap, that's the order. And Rivet seems to be holding on to second place. Here's the battle with Langdon a mile away in front, but it's all happening at the back as Hunter makes his move down the inside of Alan Rivet. Rivet holds him out. Schofield is still, what, a clear bike length behind them. They hit these last two corners. This is where it all happens, and Rivet just drifts off his line. He allows Hunter to move out to him. He just nearly overcooked it. Schofield, brilliant tactician. There is Langdon going over the line. There's a scramble for the line. You can see quite clearly, though, that it is Steve Schofield who steals 2 points out of nothing.
Well, Steve, dramatic finish. You left it late. Take us through it.
I done a pretty start on the best straight, and it felt good enough from the start, and the clutch seemed to just burn out from the line, and it caught itself up. But yeah, left it a bit late, but I just made a bad start. It's very, very difficult to get across on gate 4. Don't get so. Oh no, it's good. This is all the other lads rode well, and I was just a bit fortunate, I think, just to get through in the last minute. But I'm not complaining. Not
complaining. You actually came from last, a good last, if you know what I mean, to second on the line.
No lasts are good. They're all bad, but yeah, I was well last and I finished up second, so that's another 2 points for us, so I'm reasonably happy.
Have you sorted the clutch out?
Don't know, we'll find out after the next race, I think.
Heat number 5, the scores now: Poole on 10, Middlesbrough on 6, Hackney on 5, and Berwick on 3. So not an awful lot to choose. A couple of race wins can make all the difference. Heat number 5 on the inside in blue, Craig Boyce, race winner first time out for Poole. Next to him in yellow and black, Andy Campbell, much travelled, very experienced campaigner from Berwick. He's in grid 2. Grid 3 has Andy Galvin, who was a bit disappointing second place first time. And on the far outside in white, Paul Bentley, who is one of the most improved young men in National League Speedway, representing the Middlesbrough Bears in this HEAT semi-final of the National League Fours. Berwick need points, Middlesbrough need points, Hackney are back in third place. Heat 5, watch for Boyce if he makes a jump in blue, and he has. He is away and sweeps them out. Garvin will try the outside running, Garvin going harder around the outside, and Garvin's ridden a very brave corner, and he's got around the outside there, and he was right out on the boards. Third place is Bentley Campbell at the back, but that's the kind of style and daring we've seen from Andy Galvin in National League Speedway for several seasons now. And looking at this track, he's noticeable that in fact most of the attacking is done around these two corners. That's the third and fourth, where you really can get out and get some drive. We've seen that before. Whereas this bottom corner, the first and second round by the pits, there is an adverse camber there, but it certainly Galvin was unaware of it, and he's leading Heat 5 and he's doing it stylishly. Into the last lap, 380 yards, we remind you, around at the East of England Showground. But Andy Galvin, once he'd made his move on the first two corners, is not to be denied. He'll win Heat 5. That brings Hackney right back into contention. Well, here's an unexpected high flyer in a high-flying event. We've got what appears to be a showpiece Spitfire, and well, he's just showing him who are the masters of speed around here at the moment. Going into heat number 6 with Poole in the lead by 4 clear points, although now their man Gary Allen might be considered to be their weak link who's coming into the action. In fact, heat 6 has 3 riders who had sensational opening rides. We've got Gary Tagg, there he is in red, who fell off controversially. On the inside, Alan Rivet, who had a sensational ride. Then David Cheshire in white from Middlesbrough, who came from nowhere, and Alan in grid 3, and off they go, and it looks like Rivet's away. Rivet leads it. It's a real hard battle. Something's got to give here. Oh. And Cheshire was very brave as they hit the corner. Allen's in second place. In front it is Rivet. Second place is Cheshire and Allen together, and he's put him right in the fence. They hit the fence on that corner with a terrific bumper. That lets Gary Tagg through into second place. Oh, and Allen really is all over the place. We thought he might just be their weak link for Poole, but he's certainly lacking nothing in courage. In front by a mile is Alan Rivet, and this could bring Berwick back in there. He had 3 points so far. Second place is Tagg from Hackney. Third place it is Gary Allen, who's been spectacular, and David Cheshire, who gave everything and almost came straight to the fence on the 4th corner. He's at the back, he's not finished. So does this give Berwick a chance? It certainly does, and Rivet seems to be talking to the crowd. Second place is Tagg, third is Allen. He had the most heart-stopping first lap or so there. Well, if you're of a nervous disposition, I should avert your eyes here. Let's look at the first lap again. Here we see Alan Rivet gets away. Now keep your eye on David Cheshire. He's in white as they all come piling under. Allen and Tagg go piling under him here, but he just keeps going, and just look how tight that is there. There was not a whisker between them. Allen is up and rearing and bucking and all over the place. Cheshire seems to be around the outside of him here as they level off, and over comes Allen and just about squeezes through there and gives him a little knock, and he hits the fence. You can see that quite clearly. Well, that was Speedway racing. It was hard, but that's the name of the game.
In Heat 7, Berwick's David Blackburn scored his second win, but the question was, would it be good enough to clinch qualification for the Bandits?
Coming into the last race in this second semi-final, Poole are home. They have 13 points, but it's still going to be an interesting proposition as to who goes into the final with them, because there is Steve Schofield. We know that he's been a little worried about his clutch. Now this is the acid test, because if he can get a second place here, then Hackney will go through as well. He is in grid 2, which is well, a pretty steady old gate, and Sherry really should anchor Hackney here unless there's mechanical trouble. Our minds go back to his last Fords final when he was plagued with engine trouble, but he just must anchor them here. On the inside he has got Gary Allen, who has been a bit of a rough and tumble merchant. He's from Poole. And then we have Schofield. Grid 3 has Daz Sumner from Middlesbrough. They have 9 points, and Berwick too have 9 points. And they've got Andy Campbell on the outside, but that is a really dreadful grid. It has been a disaster out there. But it really is down to Scoey. Little Scoey, 5'1", the #1 man in National League Speedway individually, should pull Hackney through here from grid 2. He's out. Well, he hasn't made much of a start, but he moves them all out there. In front it is Allen, then Schofield. Third place is Campbell coming through hard. At the back it is Sumner. But it is Allen, who we rather thought might be the Achilles heel in the Poole quartet. But here he is, leading the #1 man in the section. We just have to consider now the options with Allen in front, and now Steve Schofield must just be worried about the bike keeping going, because into the last lap, if it should stop now, it will open up all kinds of possibilities, because Campbell's in third place. I think it's going to keep ticking away. Gary Allen wins it in the dust. Schofield does enough to take Hackney through. Well, there are the disappointed middle quarters who've been squeezed out. They've come a long way. They have always been noisy and boisterous, but they've got a sad journey home. A quick final rundown of the scores in the second HEAT sponsored semi-final. The winners pool, who look very solid, 16 points. Hackney squeezed through in second place on 13. Berwick raised 8, Gallop on 10, and Middlesbrough on 9.
So there we have it, the 4 teams in the final of the 1990 4-team championship: Ipswich, Stoke, Poole and Hackney. And we shall indeed be finding out who's going to lift the trophy this year after the break. Welcome back. Well, in a moment, it's the big one, the final of the 1990 National League 4-team tournament. The 4 teams left now: Poole, Stoke, Hackney and Ipswich. And here's a ray from the grave, a star from the past, with all due respect, John. You've seen all the teams in all the colours. Who do you fancy?
I think that's going to be very, very close. Obviously, the qualification, you know, is important because you have to qualify, but now we all start from scratch again. And all 4 teams look very, very sharp to me. That's going to be a big battle. You know, I wouldn't like to put my money on anyone at the moment.
Because this is all quite new to you, isn't it? Having just come out of the British League a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that's right. We've never actually ridden in this event before. This will be our first time. Last year we were not allowed in it because we were the last team in, so we never got an opportunity to qualify. But this year we're here and we're looking forward to it.
Tell me, John, to put you on the spot, has the move down, for that is what it is, from the British League, has that been a successful move for Ipswich?
It's been a very, very extremely successful move. We are now experiencing better crowds than we had when the team was in the British League. And a very, very good season as well. We're top of the league at the moment. The crowds are back. Speedway is healthy. Racing is superb.
Tiger Louis there, as big a favourite as ever at Vauxhall. Here at Peterborough, it's back to the action, the final of the 4-team championship, and after 3 heats, it was all very close. Only Poole still looking for a win. Now for the rest of the final, it's back to Dave Lanning.
Heat 4 has on the inside Nigel Crabtree. Hasn't had a happy visit so far, but has the inside grid here. Grid 2 has Tony Langdon from Poole in blue, a second place first time out. Grid 3 has Paul Whittaker Hackney in yellow and black, and on that outside grid this time it's Ipswich's turn with Alan Mogridge. He is on the outside. Heat number 4, and they're under orders. Play this time, and into the corner Nigel Crabtree gets away. Crabtree leads it. Mogridge is locked back, but he's in 3rd place. 2nd place is Langdon. Langdon trying hard the outside run, and Whittaker almost collects the fence as he tries a desperate effort around the outside. So it is the Stoke Potters who are redoubtable fighters, and hard down the inside goes Whittaker, pushing hard at Alan Mogridge for the odd points. 1st place Crabtree leads, 2nd place Langdon for Poole, and 3rd place it is Mogridge from Ipswich. And well, the dream of Tiger Louis and Anglian fans is beginning to look a bit ragged, because Ipswich, after a terrific start, are now beginning to lag, and it is Stoke reckoned to be perhaps the outsiders. And we have got some problems there with Mogridge almost falling off, and I think that will let Whittaker through. Whittaker coming hard for the odd points, and it certainly looks as though Mogridge was stopping, and he's got the bike going. It certainly knocked Whittaker off his line. It'll be interesting to see what Vic Harris, the ref, says about that. But Crabtree for Stoke is unconcerned. 2nd place Langdon, 3rd is Mogridge. And Stoke, the underdogs, are having their day. Well, the peculiar incident in heat number 4 came on the 3rd lap. Never mind the leaders. Just have a look at Alan Mogridge, because he's under pressure from Paul Whittaker, and it did look as though his machine had stopped. He certainly drifted right out wide here. You can see there he's missed the turn completely, and Whittaker tries to avoid him. We thought his machine had backed up. He just missed the corner. He was lucky to get the bike going again and to hold on to that point, and it could be a critical point. Well, it's still awfully close midway through this 4's final. It's Stoke on the leaderboard in front on 9 points, Poole on 7, Ipswich on 5, Hackney on 3, but still to play their number 1, Steve Schofield, who is yet to enter the action. He's their late man, their joker if you like, and he's coming into the fray in heat number 5. As we look across the lineup, we might see
potentially a better quartet
in the whole of National League racing. The top 3 guys in the section really on the inside grids, because it is Craig Boyce on the inside in blue for Poole, then Schofield in yellow and black for Hackney, and Hackney are the desperate ones who need a win here from Scoey. Then we have Chris Louis, who's been meteoric for the Witches, and Ipswich have dropped behind. They need points from Chris here. And on the outside, were they a surprise packet? Stoke, they've got a good record. Mark Carlson is on the outside here. And the inside grid has bought 9 points so far, grid 1. And it's grid 3, really, it's been the dodgy one, and that's where Chris Louis is. It's only drawn 2 points so far. So heat number 5, everything they still go for in this fours final. Inside Boyce, then Schofield. Grid 3 has Louis. On the outside, Carlson from Stoke. Can Chris Louis maintain his winning ways? Up to the start, and it's a flyer from Boyce and Schofield are away. Where is Chris Louis? He's back in 3rd place, and now beginning to get his wheels in line. In front is Schofield. 2nd place is Boyce. Now comes Louis. At the back it is Carl Stoke, and again this would alter the leaderboard quite considerably. Lap 2, they're beginning to tighten up. They can't shake each other off, these 3 outstanding individuals. Carlson has been tailed off. Schofield leads it. 2nd place is Boyce, still pushing. Louis trying the inside run, but they're giving nothing away here as they all tighten up, going down the back straight. About 10 lengths between the 3 leaders, with Schofield in front, and now Boyce trying to switch back. Moving down the inside, no room there. Louis is waiting for either to make a mistake. They're into the last lap, 380 yards. And they're giving everything here as Boyce tries the inside run on Schofield, and Scoey's having nothing of it. He'll tighten up, he won't move off his line now. Louis almost comes across the grass to get up. But a tight finish. And Chris Louis drops critical points for Ipswich. Well, the start really was the most important part of that last race, and you can see, well, it looked as though it was Boyce who got away, but just look at this tricky little turn from Steve Schofield. He switches back and gets down the inside there, and it's beautiful curb cornering there. On the inside, Schofield he's got his wheel over the line, which of course is legitimate. Boyce is 2nd, Louis is 3rd, and the riders of this experience and skill and speed and pace don't drop positions when they get in front. And now a different angle with the eyes to follow Steve Schofield. You see, it doesn't make the start, it's Boyce that definitely gets away. See how he swings back? Boyce is looking for the attack around the outside, and he's unaware that he's left just a gap there for Scoey, and just takes his leg away. Terribly tight, terribly exciting. We have a marvellous fours final here, and it's everything still to go for. We have 2 joint leaders, Poole and Stoke on 9, and Ipswich and Hackney still very much in the picture on 6 apiece. Perhaps the closest call we've yet seen in all the finals we've been covering. This is the 15th, and just looking at the lineup for heat number 6, on the inside, Paul Whitaker of Hackney. Next to him, Louis Carr, Stoke. Grid 3 has Gary on Poole, and much will depend on his reading of the situation and his ability if the Pirates are to flourish here. And on the outside it is Shane Parker of Ipswich. Heat 6. And away we go, and it's going to be a tight one. And from the inside it is Carr that shows. 2nd place is Whitaker. 3rd place Shane Parker goes through for Ipswich, and Allen is at the back. Sprockets, and Louis Carr suddenly finding his form and stripping away here in heat number 6. 2nd place is Whitaker, 3rd place is Shane Parker. This is going to establish Stoke as the clean-cut leaders here. If Carr meets nothing untoward in the next 380 yards. It's really tightening up at the back though for the odd points, with Whitaker holding on. Parker now has Allen moving up onto his back wheel. Let's forget about Louis Carr and just watch the battle for the odd points, because Allen tries the outside run, doesn't make it. That will please Middlesbrough. And so we come on to the penultimate race, and we've had drama, and we have a change here because Stoke, who just need 1 point, are pulling in their reserve. This is a dramatic development in white. The Stoke rider will be Chris Cobby, their reserve. Now, what a time to bring a reserve in, because Stoke are on 12 points, Poole on 9, Ipswich on 7. They're disappointing. Hackney are on 8, and so here are Ipswich in last place. If Stoke get 1 point here, it could be enough for them, and they pulled Mark Carlson, their original rider, out and brought in a reserve. What a time to pull a reserve. What a bold move by Steve Sant, the Stoke manager, because if the Potters could get points here, it could land them the National Force title. Here's heat 7. And up to the line, and Covey's putting himself about, but he hasn't got through there. Around the inside it is Tag that leads it, second place. Rossiter coming hard, and back is Standing at the back, and Standing sweeps through into third place, and Stokes Gamble doesn't look like paying. In front it is Rossiter from Poole, second place Gary Tag. Where is Dean Standing? He's been disappointing from Ipswich and he's got a lot of work to do. And this will really give us a last heat if it stays this way, because 3 points here from Rossiter would take them jointly into the lead with Stoke, and Covey is a mile back. He did put himself around, brave lad. First corner, but he's 30 yards tailed off. And here's the battle, and Standing makes a bold move down the inside of Gary Tag, and Tag has gone down. And what is the referee making of that? Nothing at all. The no light on. Gary Tag was down under the challenge of Dean Standing. A desperate move. His bike is still on the track, and well, they've stopped it. Now what's going to happen here, because they were on the last lap when they stopped it. Let's have a look at the incident. These are old teammates, these two, Dean Standing and Gary Tag, both Eastbourne schoolboys together. The yellow exclusion light is on. That's Gary Tag, and he will feel aggrieved about that because he was under pressure. We will look at the incident again, but it certainly has knocked Hackney out of the reckoning. They would still have been in the reckoning. Let's look at it again. You can see Tag is there in the yellow and black quartered helmet. Here comes Dean Standing down the inside of him, and well, does he touch him? Is there any contact at all? He moves him over, and well, it looks as though Gary Tag went down on his own. Difficult decision to make. Certainly he wouldn't have gone down there if he'd been on his own.
Well, yet more controversy in this meeting. I can tell you now that here in the pits there's a discussion going on as to exactly what has happened and indeed what should happen. As for Gary Tag, it's the second time he's been disqualified. He's not a happy man and he's refusing to talk. Back to Dave.
Well, yes, Kevin, and the word we have up here, and we're up next to the referee, Vic Harris, who's an experienced official, is that he has excluded Gary Tag, but although the riders were on the last lap when the exclusion lights came on, he is ordering a restart. Now, that really is a big surprise. The riders were on the last lap. They normally announce the result if it's a last lap stoppage, but that really does let Stoke right back in. I should think management might be a bit annoyed about that as well, because their man was home and dried. If anything happens to Alan Rossiter, it could turn this four's final right on its head.
Neil, if I could just ask you, what's your view of what's happening?
Actually, in the third lap, at almost the end of the third lap, the rider in red came down, but the race wasn't stopped, in our opinion, until the riders were travelling down the back straight. It was on their last lap, and generally, after the third lap, the race is awarded as the position stood as they went over the finishing line at the end of the third lap.
Well, I understand that the race is in fact going to be awarded to you, so it will be 3 points for Poole. You're going to be happy about that?
Is that so? Is that the fact that they're going to award it?
That is indeed what I'm being told.
Oh, well, we're not sure. We're still trying to contact the referee. We've been speaking to him, but the phone's gone dead. Well, yes, we can't see any reason. You have to abide by the rules of Speedway, and we're quite sure that that's the way it should be. It makes it a slight disadvantage in as much as the Stoke rider has finished third, but we can't do anything about that. That's how it was running, and that's how it should be.
Well, I'm not very happy because the incident happened on the third lap down there, and obviously there takes time for him to react to the button. But the actual incident happened on the third lap, down the bottom corner. They did another whole lap after that. The race should be rerun. As he made his first decision, he's been talked out of it, and that's a shame, really, because he's made a mistake.
Well, obviously, Tiger Louis upset there, but it has to be said the referees must allow time for the track staff to clear the rider and the bike, and by the time that didn't happen, the riders were on their last lap. It's a point of debate, but I would have said the referee was right to award the points. Well, they never disappoint us in this National Force. We always have good racing, we have excitement, we have drama, we have controversy, and this year has been no change, has it? And coming into the final race of the HEAT-sponsored final, let's look at the leaderboard. It's between the two teams now, one for the north, one for the Stoke on 13 thanks to that awarded point in heat number 7. They move into the lead. Poole have 12. Ipswich, sadly, for all their early promise now, cannot win the trophy. They're on 9 and Hackney on 8. And looking at heat number 8, it's all between the Poole and Stoke riders. Naturally, Eric Monaghan, the specialist, and he is going to be in grid 3. And Gary Allen, who has been in the thick of all the controversy throughout the programme, he's on the inside, and that could be dangerous. And we have 2 real spoilers here as well, because we have Alan Moggeridge from Ipswich. He'll be in grid 2, and Stevie Schofield from the Poole Pirates, and he's on the outside. So it's a real fascinating brew here. Basically, Monaghan has just got to beat Gary Allen for Stoke to win the championship. And we should point out that if they finish level, we get a run-off. So it's all down to Allen on the inside in blue and Monaghan in white for Stoke. Heat number 8, all the race for, and off we go. And up to that first corner is Moggeridge, who gets away. Moggeridge away, second place is, third place is Allen. Monaghan is at the back, and they're going to charge this bottom corner as Monaghan makes his move. Remember, he's just got to finish ahead of the Poole rider, and Monaghan has gone around the outside into second place, and Allen is back in fourth place, and Monaghan now is riding the race of his life. In front it is Moggeridge. Second place though is Eric Monaghan from Stoke. Third is Schofield of Hackney, and Gary Allen just could not make any impression here at all. And Moggeridge is biting now. We saw in his last race it seemed to be slowing, and is slowed right down, and Monaghan sweeps into the lead. And Potteries rejoice because Eric Monaghan now is clear. Allen isn't going to catch him unless anything untoward happens over the line. The last lap, 380 yards to go, and Eric Monaghan is already saluting the crowd. They're dancing down the back straight. Stoke, the underdogs, they've been here thrones as runners-up. They're going to take the HEAT National Force title, and Monaghan triumphs. Second place is Schofield, third is Allen, and the Potteries will be dancing tonight. And as they go past the main stand, the salute is for Eric Monaghan, a winner here, of course, with Milden Hall in the past. His teammates are waiting for him. The Potters were nobody's real favourites before the start of this final, but they've come here, they have battled, they've shown their talent and ability at this discipline, and Eric Monaghan is seeing Peterborough from a totally different angle. And it really was a brave effort from Eric Monaghan in the white helmet. You see, he misses the start. He's on one wheel here as Moggeridge gets away, and Schofield comes around the outside, and Allen really comes up to give him some stick on the inside here. And it's a terrific effort from Bootsy because he refuses to be daunted. He keeps going around the outside. Schofield switches to the inside line. And watch for Eric Monaghan there. He's back in fourth place, but he will not be denied. Around outside, he's kept the throttle screw wide open. He's up into second place here as Schofield is back in third. Moggeridge still leads it, but Eric Monaghan has done the hard work, and from now on it's just the road glory.
Well, Eric, what a brilliant finish. I think you came from last to first there. What about that?
Well, I love this place. Had it all to do with Scoey. He's a little bit smaller than me, but he's packed with atoms, so I had my work cut out, especially when he got out the box and I'm sat at the back. But it's all there to be done. Work the bike and hey presto, shit, we did it.
Eric Monaghan, the modest hero there of Stoke's success today. Stoke, the champions.
They were fourth with 9 points.
Well, what a brilliant meeting. Thrills, spills, controversy. Hopefully there'll be more of the same next week when we're on to four wheels with Formula 3 action from Snetterton. Join us then.
And next week, Wheels will be back at the slightly later time of 11:20.